Well, I have been struggling with wanting to maybe do some presenting publicly. And I know that as soon as I commit to something, if it's 6 months in advance, I won't sleep when I'm in groups, or if I'm even working with couples, which I like to do, but I have some similar thing where I feel like if I get stuck, I'm supposed to have every answer kind of on the tip of my tongue. And I know that's not true when I'm calm, but when my anxiety gets, triggered by the situation, then I have trouble thinking. So whether it would be public speaking in a group of therapists, or even here, you can hear my throat, so that a beta blocker would be probably useful at that moment, yeah. So that type of thing.
Okay, and so your goal, what would your goal be?
My goal would be to be kind of confident enough that I could handle whatever happened, and therefore be calm in the moment, so that I would be able to use my thinking capacities, which when I'm calm, I feel are pretty okay.
And then you'd be scheduling more talking, or you'd feel better in a group, or things like that?
Yeah, that I might risk speaking publicly or doing a presentation.
Okay.
And then maybe I'd be able to see more couples without having sleepless nights.
Okay, wow. Great, great. Can you give me just a little bit of history that would be important for me to know? It's so hard, because I had a relatively, what feels like a smooth life, and I'm a pretty calm person. The things that I have struggled with, my mom was a very vibrant personality, and this kind of thing about how much space I can take up, and guilt about maybe wanting to take up more space in a room, but feeling like, is it too much? And kind of the default is just to kind of, like if I tell myself I can go into a situation and I can just stand on the sides and be small, like that grounds me, and then if something comes up where I can move out, where I feel comfortable, I will. Even though most people would characterize me as extroverted and comfortable, I think deep down there's a sort of an introverted part. Okay. So your mother was a very vibrant person. Anything else that stands out? Relationship with mother, relationship with father, siblings, anything?
The only thing I can think of is my parents got separated and divorced when I was 16. And for years I kind of they would both talk to me, they were enraged at each other, and they would both talk to me, and I would sort of hear one person then come back and try to, just with the goal of mediating some solution so they wouldn't be so angry at each other. It's not that I even didn't want them to get divorced, because I actually always felt it wasn't traumatic in that. It was really the bitterness and the fighting, and it was a court thing. And then I remember giving up, sort of saying, I have to remove myself, that I'm not going to solve this. It just went back and forth, and nobody was really interested in solving a problem, neither of them. So I realized this is not good for me.
Are your parents still alive?
No, actually my dad died about a year and a half ago.
Okay. And your mother's still alive?
Yeah, alive and vibrant.
Okay. Okay. Okay, great. So let's do a little bit of resourcing. Do you have a...
there's one other piece that maybe, that has to do with my mother. My mother validated me constantly, told me I was the most brilliant thing, the most beautiful thing, and that did a lot of good, as one can imagine. But it also, it has this effect of you don't know what you can really believe. And so I kind of have like a lot of confidence, but then there's also like this part that's not quite sure. And that just seems somehow relevant in terms of like, can I be this person, or is it really, the feeling of fraudulent, which I know is common.
Okay. Great. Okay.
Okay, good. So, do you have a peaceful place? A place you can imagine that's peaceful?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have?
The bedroom in a house that I have in Connecticut with my husband, kind of lying in just bed hanging out.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so just take a moment
Mm-hmm.
and close your eyes
Mm-hmm.
and imagine that place.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a good sense of it, let me know.
I have a good sense of it. I'm anxious because of being here, so it's kind of a dual thing. I can easily, put myself there.
Okay.
But I do have an awareness of a lot of people being here. Yeah.
Okay.
And that calms down the flutter.
Great.
Yeah.
That felt good?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Do you have nurturing figures? These are figures, real or imaginary, that have a nurturing quality.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have?
My mother, my sister, my husband.
Okay, so we're not going to use your mother.
Mm-hmm.
Your sister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your sister, your husband. Do you have any imaginary nurturing figures?
Not that come up offhand. Should I struggle to find one?
Well, not struggle. Any friends? Any spiritual figures?
No, I'm a diehard atheist. Friends, yes, for
Okay.
sure.
You have a friend you can imagine who has a nurturing quality?
Mm-hmm.
Have a name?
Monica.
Okay. Great. Okay, so what's your sister's name?
Amanda.
Okay, so imagine Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
Feel her nurturing quality.
Mm.
Okay. How's that?
Nice.
Okay, great. And your husband? I forgot to get his name.
John.
Okay. Okay, feel his nurturing quality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Monica?
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
Nice.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay, then protector figures. These are figures, real or imaginary, that have a protective quality.
It's trickier because I sort of feel like the protector. for a lot of
Okay, so you
people.
have a protective adult self?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do
I feel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually interesting because publicly I wouldn't have access to that as much, but one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me think.
It's just a figure that has that quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, somebody in the room today, should I mention that?
Sure.
That would be Ben, my supervisor.
Okay. Great. Okay, so connect with your protective adult self. Got a sense of her? Okay. Okay. How's that?
It's trickier.
That's trickier, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not as good.
I'm struggling with like what situation I need protection, and I'm kind of bringing into mind the very situations that we're talking about, sort of being in a group
But okay,
setting.
do you have any children? Okay, have they ever been in a situation where they needed you to kind of come forward and do something to protect them? Okay, use those examples to pull your adult protective self up.
So that my protecting part on behalf of protecting other people?
Yes. That's typically a way to find it.
Okay.
That part of yourself often. If you had a friend or one of your children was threatened in some way.
And I'm also getting caught up on physical protection, or sort of I have an ability to assert, and to set boundaries and
Yes.
and
Yeah.
so it doesn't necessarily have to be physical.
No, it doesn't
Okay.
necessarily have
Okay.
to be that.
Yeah.
So you want to use that? You have a sense of that now? Okay, good. How's that?
It's okay.
Did you feel it more?
Yeah, it's like my eyes are doing. I don't know if you can see that
Yeah.
my eyes are doing this weird thing. So
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if it's.
I think you're starting to process.
Yeah, it's like bringing up obstacles that I've had in asserting and getting my needs met, and on behalf of my kids, brought up a memory of trying to get my kid into school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do Ben.
Okay.
That might be a little bit easier. So feel Ben's protective quality. Got it? Okay. Okay. How's that?
So I feel calm in my body, but my eyes are going nuts.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's often what happens.
Yeah.
It's the processing.
Yeah.
It's kicking in
Mhm.
that kind of REM sleep-like thing. Yeah. Okay. And wise figures. Anyone or anything that has a wise quality.
My mother, my husband, my sister,
Okay.
Ben, all those same people. Is this okay to reuse those? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
but not your mother somehow,
Okay.
because she's going to end up. She may end up in the network we're going to process.
Okay. Okay.
So let's do Ben, your husband,
And Monica.
and Monica.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So imagine Ben and feel his wise quality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how's that?
Mm-hmm. Fine.
And your husband, John?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monica.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great. Good,
Mm-hmm.
good. Do you want to imagine them as a team?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine them as a team, kind of your support team.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So give me a signal for stop. Like if you feel a wave and I'm going too long, like you can just go like this or
That's fine. I'll just sort of.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I stopped you too soon, I keep going signal. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good.
I'll try to make them distinctive.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right. Okay, so let's do this. We'll start with an example in the present that you can find where you felt this anxiety, and then I'll see if we can find what in the past is linked to that.
As opposed to a future, like seeing myself up on stage.
We'll see.
Okay, so
So-
something in the present, because I tend to avoid things that make me
Oh, okay,
anxious.
so you can't even find anything from the past that is linked to the anxiety? I mean, can you think of a time when you felt it?
I mean, just when we were making introductions.
It came up then?
Yeah, my heart started to race.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's start here. It's a great example.
Okay.
Okay, so close your eyes and go inside. And bring yourself to the moment when you first started feeling that anxiety. Imagine yourself here in the group. What's the moment when you started feeling that?
When I knew I would have to say something.
Okay. What are you feeling?
Trying to decide like how much to share, like you know, like there's a part that wants people to know all my accomplishments, and then there's a part that's, you know, more so, you know, wants to be reasonable and fit in socially and be like everybody else.
Okay, so what are you feeling? What are the emotions you're feeling as you're anticipating?
I mean, what I'm only aware of is anxiety. You want me to
Okay.
try to get to more core?
No, that's it.
Okay.
You're feeling anxious. That's it.
Yeah.
Feeling anxious, and what are you noticing in your body?
Like a trembly feeling, you know, here is where I feel anxiety.
Great. And what thoughts or beliefs go with this?
What thoughts or beliefs? So not really longings or what I'm desiring.
Just immediately, what goes with this?
What should I say? How much should I say? It's like questions to myself. Those aren't really. I shouldn't brag.
Okay. So take that and trace it back in time. Go back as far as you can without censoring it.
So it just it's trouble finding some place to land. It feels so like it gets tied up in really pleasing. My mother wants to hear my accomplishments, and I don't really want to. You know, I have a conflict of wanting to tell her, but I don't really want to tell her because she gets so excited about them.
Okay, do you have a picture of that? Okay, so what picture do you have?
Just my mother beaming and like, oh, you're the most amazing thing that ever walked the face of the earth, and me being like, you know, it's like too much.
Okay, perfect. How old are you in this picture?
Oh my goodness, let's see. I mean, they feel more current.
you know, but there's a picture around 9 years of age.
Okay, great.
But
Okay.
it sort of changed the scene a little bit.
Okay, so give me the scene.
She's bragging about me at a party, and I'm feeling really just embarrassed. And she's saying, oh, it's my beautiful daughters, and she's so beautiful. And I'm just feeling basically like not beautiful and like a piece of shit, so it's...
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you imagine this, what are you feeling? Embarrassed?
Anxiety, really.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. What do you notice in your body?
That flutter right here.
And what belief goes with this?
I'm not as good as she says.
Great.
And I don't want that attention. Or
Okay.
I want a different kind of attention.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn this on. Let whatever comes up come up with that sensor.
Okay.
What's happening now?
Well, the scene is kind of frozen, but I felt calmer from, you know, just from the process. And then kind of this idea that I wanted to be near my mom, but I didn't want her talking to me. So I didn't like want to walk away. I just wanted to be close to her, but not talked about.
Okay, let's go with that. Okay. What's happening?
Like, not much. It's weird. What I kept kind of going back and forth from kind of just that scene next to my mother when I'm young at this party, and then flashes of being alone on a stage, you know, as if I was presenting, and the very visceral sense of being all alone, kind of as opposed to being next to my mom.
Okay. So let's go back to the scene with your mom, that party. What do you notice now?
That I'm just like standing next to her, and that feels better. She's not talking about me.
Okay, let's go with that. happening?
So again, it's just like this, it's an increasing calmness and an awareness that I just like being in the shadows. In other words, I'm very happy just standing next to my mom, being quiet, watching her interact without any pressure. It made me wonder, maybe I really don't want to present and I feel pressure to do that.
Okay, but in this scene, you're not presenting, right?
No, I'm just very happy just being next to my mom.
Okay. So now, is there any distress, 0 to 10, with this picture?
No.
Okay, and what do you believe about yourself?
That it's okay just to be quiet and stand by.
Okay, so put that belief in with the picture.
Okay.
Okay. What's coming up now?
The idea that it's like a relief that I don't have to be great.
Ah, okay, let's go with that.
Okay.
What's happening now?
So then it brings up the conflict. Okay, so then it's like maybe I'm so bored. So it's like, what am I striving for then? It's sort of it got a little restless just kind of standing there.
Okay, so let's go back up now to this group introduction thing. And I want you to check that now as you imagine it's coming to be your turn. What do you notice now?
I mean, it's a little calmer in my body, but the sort of the question still of what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to tout myself and be important? Am I supposed to be humble? Am I supposed to like just not knowing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing?
Okay, so drop into it again, and it's coming to your turn. What are you feeling now?
Well, as I'm about, when it's my turn to talk, that the worry kind of goes away a little bit, and there's more of a sense of whatever I end up saying, I'll end up saying, and that's okay. Kind of like being myself. It's the anticipatory buildup.
All right, so let's just go in on that. Feel the anticipatory buildup and then do your turn, and let's just see what comes.
Okay.
Okay.
Much more relaxed, and kind of a shift to feeling a human among humans as opposed to performance.
Great.
That's nice.
Great. So go back and check it again.
Mm-hmm.
So coming around the circle to your turn.
Mm-hmm.
What are you noticing as far as anxiety or anything else?
Much calmer. Much less pressure.
Okay. Is there anything 0 to 10?
Just a tiny bit of anticipation and wishing I could always go first.
Okay, so let's go with that. See what comes.
Okay.
Okay, what's happening?
It's interesting. So I feel like there's like a calmness that came over about the present.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sort of went to like my competitiveness and wanting attention, and kind of feeling sibling stuff, and then brought me back to my sitting next to, the kind of piece being next to my mother, but this whole other piece, it's like really two sides of like me, look at me.
Okay, you want to do that one?
It's up to you.
You guys all up for exploring that piece? We'll be a little bit later for lunch, but let's do it.
Okay.
This is
I hope it's not
great.
too.
Okay, so I want you to go into that me feeling.
Okay.
Look at me. I
Yeah.
want, attention.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have an image of that,
Mm-hmm.
a feeling for that,
Mm-hmm.
and what belief goes with that?
What belief?
Or thoughts?
I don't deserve the attention.
Okay, so take all that and trace it back in time. Go back as far as you can without censoring it.
Mm-hmm. Then it goes back to elementary school, like fourth grade, and just not feeling smart, and feeling socially awkward and insecure and unpopular.
Okay. Do you have a picture that goes with that?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the picture?
It's kind of me, like prepubescent, chubby, and insecure and feeling less than. And then my in fourth grade, Phoebe Cates was in my class, and we were good friends, and she was gorgeous, and I see her and we were like a threesome, and the two of them kind of ganged up on me, and it was a low point in my life.
Okay, are you on the playground? Are you in the classroom?
I see us in the classroom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Two friends ganged up on you.
Yeah, I'm just mostly like feeling badly about myself.
Okay, so in that picture, what are you feeling?
Now that flutter comes up
Okay.
inside again. Yeah.
And so it's anxiety, flutter.
Yeah.
And what's the
it's
belief?
anxiety. I'm not good enough.
Okay. I'm going to turn this on. Let whatever comes up come up for a sensory. Okay. What's happening?
So the scene doesn't move, but the trembling, anxiety feeling is diminishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to keep going with that? Or what's in the picture now? What do you notice?
I just see me, chubby me with Phoebe and Lisa Deerbeck, and we're just kind of standing there and kind of feeling alone or not so good enough or insecure, but the visceral feeling is calming down.
Okay.
But the picture doesn't move.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's, keep going with the body.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. What's happening?
I just got relief. All of a sudden, I just was like, whatever, and I kind of walked away. And that's what made me smile.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it just dissipated the negativity, And then the movement, it was really into my sixth grade teachers kind of walking towards her, who liked me. It was the first time that a teacher kind of thought I was smart or kind of recognized me.
Great.
Yeah.
So when you think of that fourth grade situation, what comes up for you now?
Just like that sense of whatever, it was what it was.
Okay, okay.
And it's done, and you know, and I made up pretty well.
Great. Is there any charge with it? 0 to 10?
Like 0, I'd say.
Okay, and what do you believe about yourself now?
It'll be okay.
Okay, so put that belief in with the seed.
Okay.
Okay, what's happening?
It just sort of, it'll be okay, just feels right and better. And then I kind of flash to the future a little bit in that sense of it'll be okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So let's do the group again. So you imagine being here and just, you know, your turn's coming up. What do you notice now?
Much more relaxed. That sense of it'll be okay. It's not a big deal.
Ah, great. Okay, so let's go with that.
Okay.
Okay.
That same word, like whatever. Just like whatever, who cares? Just like stop, you know.
Yeah.
It's like not a big deal.
Right. So what's some kind of future thing you might want to do where we could check your work?
You know, it would be to do a presentation for the AEDP Institute.
Okay,
You know,
so is there one you could imagine giving?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so as you imagine giving that, doing that presentation, what do you notice?
Well, it feels much more relaxed, I have to say, than before imagining. If I thought long and hard about it, I'm sure I could create lots of problems. You know, they're on the brink, but like just standing there on the stage, you know, following what we just did, and sort of I'm with that idea of it'll be okay, and whatever happens, it'll be okay.
All right. Okay, so follow that, imagine that.
Okay.
Okay. What's coming up?
Well, I feel calm in my body, but it opens up, what started to come up is the idea of that when you put yourself out there, you can be judged, and there really is no control over that, how people perceive you. And then, you know, kind of more thoughts about the choice of whether one wants to do that, you know, if you can make a mistake and hurt your career. But it wasn't activating emotionally. It was more like is this something that one should think through, or do you just throw caution to the wind and go for it, knowing that other people do that and survive? So it brought up a lot of questions, actually.
What advice would you give someone you know who wanted to present?
I mean, my gut instinct would be to be encouraging for growth and striving and doing something new. But if they said, realistically, could somebody find something offensive or find something, or judge something, and then someone who maybe referred to you wouldn't refer to you? I suppose all those things are possible. But the question is, do you let the fears, for me would be, do you let the fears influence the decision?
So what I'm thinking is there's another line to process around this worry about what other people would think, and some backlash as a possibility. It feels like a different line than what you've done already.
It does.
So it's what's so important is always just to test the work and see where there's anything left. And kind of like as we've been talking about in class, there are a lot of different threads that link up to performance. So I think this is another one. There's something about, and you might want to see if you can work to identify what this is. It's not safe to be judged, or something about that, about the judgment part of it. So it's just more work to be done, and I think you could probably clear it pretty quickly. But the classroom thing feels good. How does it feel about working with a couple? Like if you got a phone call from a couple?
Well, those same immediate fears would get kicked up. What if they're too hard? What if they have insurmountable problems and I can't figure out how to help?
Okay. Okay, so that does feel like another line. That doesn't feel like it's about bragging or about this other thing we did.
Right. That doesn't feel like it feels separate. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I just say, the processing may continue. Keep working on this. Do you want to imagine going back to your peaceful place with your resource figures, or not? What would you like to do?
I feel pretty good.
You feel pretty good?
Yeah, I feel fine.
You did a great piece of work. I'll just say a little bit about what I did and why. I'll kind of start with that. So, resourcing, which is essential. Then identifying where the problem, what's the problem, and getting an example of it. And I'm always looking for an example that is more recent, and then it's got emotional charge connected to it. And then we found one. It was just here. That's good because it gives us the entryway into bridging back. So then I use what I call the bridging, technique. And so we get the image, the emotions, the body, and any thoughts or beliefs, and we trace it back in time. And that's where we got, there were two scenes, and we got the one that really felt the strongest, where your mother was bragging about you in front of you. That was a great scene. And so that was our target. And so we processed that. And you didn't need any extra interventions. You didn't need interweaves or any of that. You did them, you took care of yourself. That went down. We installed a positive with that. Then we went back up, and things were better. But then there was this other line, the me. Something about that. And then it's, what'd you say? I'm not, what? I forget what you said. I'm not good enough. And then that linked, we bridged that back, and that linked to the friends in 4th grade. And then when you process that, that went to whatever. It's kind of like really in the past, it's okay. And then we went back up, and this felt different. This room, this seemed like this part, the thing we bridged from was clear, right? But then there are a number of other places where you wanted to be able to come out and speak, and so we were testing those, and still some to go. So that fear of being boring, and the fear of judgment that could get you into trouble somehow. I think there's something about that. I'm going to get into trouble. Because you were saying something about that. Like you wouldn't get referrals, or somebody think badly about you, and it would affect you in a negative way.
Right, it's safer to hide.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about that. So those would be two other bridges I would do. I think I would have you imagine just giving that talk and then bridge back from whatever the fear is.
Great.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm
cool.
mapping out.